Can you be a fan of a video game without even playing the damn thing? That has been the topic of discussion over on Twitter for the past couple of days, and I want to give my take on it because I got feelings about it. Now, first and foremost, I think everyone is aware at the very least that at least some games you can be a fan of without playing. Games like FNAF, Mouthwashing, Dispatch. Those are a few off the top of my head that I can name that for sure have fan bases that extend far beyond their player bases. And that's because even though games are made to be played, people can still resonate with certain aspects of a game that have nothing to do with gameplay. Five Nights at Freddy's has those iconic animatronic designs and a shit ton of lore. Meanwhile, Dispatch and Mouthwashing are both held in high regard for having gripping characters and narratives that are paired with unique presentation. But I do want to circle around to the gameplay point because it is important. Again, games are made to be played after all, and a lot of games provide a certain level of mechanical depth that can only be understood by playing it yourself. So does it make any sense to call someone a fan of a game when they have no first-hand experience with the most important aspect of that game? I can understand why some people would say no, but like I said before, people can be fans of games for reasons that are outside of direct gameplay. I've got more hours in Dead by Daylight than most of the games I've played, but if I manage to come across a person who's never played the game themselves, but thinks the killers are interesting and decided to research all the lore behind every killer in the game, I'm going to have no issues calling that person a fan. And while that is a more extreme example / hypothetical, I am certain that that person exists out there. But my point is, what it means to be a fan of something, at least to me, being a fan means that you have a level of investment in a thing that is beyond the surface level. I feel like games at large are so artistically potent that it is possible for people to reach this level of investment without playing it themselves. In some cases, people can like everything about a game except its gameplay. In other cases, a person may get way more enjoyment out of watching a game than playing it themselves. So whether it's the music, the visuals, the character design, or the vibe that gets created from all of those things coming together in the game, I think it's definitely possible to have a deep level of connection or appreciation for a game without direct hands-on experience. But I will say that with the caveat that in the case of many games, you are missing out on a big aspect of it by not playing it yourself. But that's still not enough for me to say that you can't be a fan, because it's still possible for you to get something meaningful out of it. There are people who played through God of War 3 and didn't realize that that game was a cautionary tale about walking down the path of vengeance. I think that is a crucial part of the game. In fact, it is so crucial that it ended up shaping the future of that game franchise and Kratos long before the next installment was even made. But I'm not going to sit here and tell people that they're not real fans of the games just because they didn't pick up on that lesson. I've only played God of War 3 and up, so who am I to tell someone they're not a fan? But even if I did play all of the games, I still have better things to do than gatekeep. And that's why I don't really like this "can you be a fan if you don't even play" discussion, because it's really just an extension of Larper discourse, which is just an extension of gatekeeping discourse. I just think this epidemic of internet Larpers is kind of overblown and not that big of a deal. Don't get me wrong, Larpers are annoying. Don't get me wrong, pretending that you have more knowledge or investment in a game franchise than you actually do for clout is pathetic. But ultimately, there is far worse behavior that you can come across on the internet. And if I'm being honest, I think the way that people go about gatekeeping on the internet is way more annoying and way more toxic than LARPing ever could be. Because there are few things that annoy me more than a condescending prick with an unearned sense of authority talking down to me because I don't meet their personal credentials of what it means to be an enjoyer of a certain game franchise or whatever. Whether it's because I didn't play enough games in their eyes, or I enjoyed the wrong games in a series. I don't know. It's just dumb. Like, people like that can just suck my dick from the back until my toes curl behind my ankles for all I care. I need them to go away. But yeah, that's my take on this whole discussion. I typically avoid calling myself a fan of things, so I don't feel like I'm put in a position where I gotta prove that I'm actually am a fan of said thing. But making this video has helped me realize that that's kind of silly. If you consider yourself a fan of something, then that should be enough. And based off of my personal definition that I gave earlier in this video, I definitely meet my own criteria for what it means to be a fan. I'm not gonna really seek out and try to shit on people who I don't feel meet that certain criteria, because ultimately it's not that deep. But yeah, I think gatekeepers need to chill. And if you're pretending to be more into a game than you actually are because you think it makes you seem cooler, it's not making you seem cooler. It's actually lame as fuck. But I'm gonna get out of here, man. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time.
Good boy.